Okay, so we are on live right now.
All right.
Okay, well, hello everyone. This is Naveen Samuel. Welcome to podcast number 10. I am here today with Lisa Marie Spradley, and she is otherwise known as the front desk lady. She's worked in dentistry for 20 years, and she's also been named the 2014 Office Manager of the Year from the American Association of Dental Office Management, not managers. They used to be called managers. So welcome to the podcast, Lisa.
Well, thank you for having me, Dr. Samuel. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
All right. I know we had a mix up on our schedule last time, and I apologize for that. I'm glad we got it. We got you on for today. And you're in which state?
I'm in Mississippi, so I'm clear across the country from you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I gave you a little brief introduction, but please tell me a little bit more about your background. How you got started in dentistry.
I'll be happy to. So, actually, it started about, as you said, 20 years ago. I was my husband was in the military at the time. We just transferred to the state of Mississippi, and I worked in customer service of all places at Walmart. And when we transferred down here, I didn't really like the new Walmart, so I told my husband, if I have to start somewhere new, I want to do it somewhere other than Walmart. So I got into a position for a periodontist, actually, as his, back then it was called recall coordinator. And I started there and slowly worked my way up. I worked for him for 7 years. Then I worked for his daughter, who's an orthodontist, for about 2 years. And then I have my current position, which I've been at for 11 years as the office administrator for general dentist. So I've kind of seen a couple of specialties, and I really like general dentistry the best. I like being able to do a little bit of everything. I've always worked in the front. I don't really have a lot of clinical experience, but I started what I do now because of a need that I saw, to really get qualified people in and trained in your front office. Mm-hmm. It just seems to me that for such an important role, it's amazing how many unqualified people work the front. And it's not, because they don't want to learn. It's just a lack of, at least where I was at anyway, availability of training. So that kind of made me do this. And then I started speaking, and it just evolved, and I'm loving it.
Yeah. Well, you and I do is very similar as far as our companies are concerned. So I train front office staff, you train front office staff. My training is more focused online, but tell me a little bit about how you do your trainings.
So my training, I really like to focus on the communication part. I feel like when we're communicating our values, our purpose, our why, whatever it is you want to call it, then everything else is just going to come naturally. Sure. So my challenge for you, Dr. Samuel, is actually it's not staff training, it's team training.
Okay. Yes.
There it goes. Staff's an infection. Although some of us can be. Hopefully for the most part.
I haven't heard that one before. Staff is an infection.
There you go. So, but I do. I love communicating, and I love talking to people. So my goal, my purpose is, just building relationships and doing that one conversation at a time. I realize it's always easy in a busy dental practice, but it can be done. And when we do that, then the rest of it's just going to fall into place. So that's my niche.
Yeah, no, that's a great niche, and it's unfortunate that too many people don't focus that way. I know a lot of people, they start with the dentist and then they move to the front, they move to the back, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes the front office gets a little neglected, and they spend more time training the dentist than the rest of the staff, and then they kind of feel like the dentist is going to be the leader, which is very important. But right. I'm a big proponent of training the entire team.
Yes, I'm huge on that. I would love to see more CE encouraged for the front office team members. That's why I'm a member of ADOM, the American Association of Dental Office Management, because they offer a fellowship program, which I'm a part of, and I have to keep up my education just like the rest of the team does. I think that's important. Why shouldn't we be trained? We're the front line, Right. You may very well be the very best dentist there is in California. But if when the patient calls, or even a prospective or a new team member calls, if they don't like my attitude, they're not coming in your door. So
I,
that, yeah, CE is very important, I think, for the front office team members, and any type of continuing education we can do, I'm all about it.
sure. Yeah. Good. So tell me a little bit about, do you speak? Like, where do you speak at?
Well, a lot of my speaking right now is for study groups.
Okay.
ADOM has lots of chapters out there in different states,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I travel and speak to them. I was very fortunate to be asked to speak at the New Orleans Dental Conference next year, so I'm excited about that. And I recently got an invitation, hopefully for the 2018 Chicago Midwinter meeting. So it's
Oh, okay.
growing, and I really like being able to get out there and meet new people and find out what everybody else is doing, and how we can work together, because I
Sure, sure.
really believe that it's a team effort in whatever it is we're doing.
Right, right. Well, let's see here. I have it here that you wrote down a few articles for Dentistry IQ, the Dental Geek. I haven't heard of that publication.
It's still out there. I know it's out there, but I
Okay.
wrote one article back when I was first starting for them, and I do a lot with Kevin Henry at Dental Products Report, and I also
Okay.
write for other publications. Really, my main writing right now, though, to be honest, is my own newsletter that I put out once a month, the Front Desk.
Oh, okay.
I send that out, and it's all about communication, and I try to keep it positive and uplifting. I've been told I'm more motivational, and I'm okay with that. I think that when we're happy, we're going to communicate better. So
Sure.
I like to be able to keep it upbeat and really motivate teams to go the extra mile.
Sure, sure. Well, I mean, yeah, the whole motivational speaker thing, that kind of can get a bad rap in the industry, because I mean, some people associate motivation speakers to, like, like Tony Robbins or somebody who comes out and gets pumped up the crowd.
Hot coals in my speaking, no. But I think that when you can help people, like I was talking earlier about finding your purpose, your why.
Yeah.
So I think that every team, not just my humble opinion, you should definitely have a mission, right? So that's what you do. But why do you do that? What
Right.
what is it you're seeking to do? Is it is it something for you? Is it something to give back to the community? So
Sure.
I think when we can sit down as a team and figure out what our why is, and then communicate that, make sure that everything we say and do reflects our why, then that's going to help better bring those new patients, keep the existing patients.
Sure.
A lot of times when you're looking for your why, it can get to be a little motivational.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't purposely seek to go out there, and do things like that. But as we're talking and as we're learning and growing, it kind of comes about.
Sure. Sure. But I mean, you bring up a good point about motivation. I mean, it's very important as staff members to be motivated. I mean, if you don't wake up in the morning and feel like, man, I really want to get to work and I really want to serve people, that job won't be there for a very long time.
Just a job. It's so I always encourage my team members. It's a career. It's a it's a calling. My mantra, if you will, is do well and be well. So if you're doing what you want to do, then everything else is going to fall in place. You're going to be happy. So yes, I completely agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so what I was talking about, the motivation thing, when you look at it, I don't want to get too involved in the topic of motivation, but I mean, do you look at leadership? I mean, how do you, leadership, it's a big concept. It's a big topic to talk about, but how do you address that when you talk to a dental office?
Well, okay. So, I can't remember exactly who had said this, but you manage things and you lead people. So when I'm talking about it specifically to my dental front office team members, I'm kind of focusing on the office administrator, office manager, whatever you want to call them these days. And I'm explaining to them the importance of leading by example. So not just telling people, what it is you want to be done, but, showing them. how it is, and always being open to feedback. I think
Sure.
that that's one thing as office administrators. Sometimes we get, it's my way or the highway.
Sure.
And all of us have that ability, to
Right.
get set in our ways. So I really try to focus on not so much the systems, although I agree they're completely important and they are necessary. I think everybody needs to have their systems in place so that the office can run consistently all the time.
Mm.
My calling, I guess, if you will, is how are we going to communicate these systems to our teams so that they don't just do them, they actually want to do them. It's habit. It's what makes the team work well together is their ability to take these systems and run with them.
Sure. Sure.
And I think that's a great leader, someone who can put people on the path to consistently doing A+ work all the time.
Yeah. Actually, that's a very good point you brought up. I don't know who quoted that or who said that either. So you manage things, but you lead people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a lot like job responsibilities. You're managing. Well, if you think about it, everybody should be managing themselves.
Yeah.
And the leader. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're all adults, exactly. Yeah. So I did a podcast with Scott McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you know who he is. He does a lot of demographics research, helps out. He's mainly located here on the West Coast, but he he talked about how there was one office in particular where nobody would clean the toilet.
It's not my job, huh?
It's not. So he, but he just brought that as one important point. The point was everybody should take responsibility for the office.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that you got to do to make the office look good, and there's just minimal standards you got to comply in the office. And if people don't take responsibility, then and work as a team, obviously it reflects on the patients too. The patients can see that.
Most definitely. And I think it's all about an inner pride too. I mean, you want as a team for this practice to succeed. You want everybody to look good, not just you. So when you have that, and that really goes back to a lot of your hiring techniques too, which once again goes back to your why. When you know it, then you're going to bring people in that share that purpose. And that's where it all starts.
Right. Good. I'm glad to hear that. So how long have you had this company at the front? What's the name of the company? Is it called Front Desk Lady, or do you just go by the Front Desk Lady?
I just go by the Front Desk Lady. The business is actually called TCB Dental Consulting. So
okay.
Real little.
Yeah, hold on 1 second here. Okay.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. All right. And you know what? I can also edit too. I have my own programs for editing.
I'm trying to remember what the last question you had. I got lost.
I think you answered it actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's fine. It's okay. Let's see. Oh, I know the question was how long. So you started Front Desk Lady. Yeah. How long did you start it? Yeah.
TCB Dental Consulting, and but I go by the Front Desk Lady, and that actually. TCB Dental Consulting came because when I first started my business, I was told that I didn't want to name it like Lisa M. Spradley because it nobody knew that or it wasn't marketable. So I am Lisa Marie, right? And do you know any famous Lisa Maries? I don't know if you know Elvis, this big guy out there. So I was actually born 2 months after Elvis Presley's daughter, and my father was a huge Elvis fan. So I am a huge Elvis fan. So TCB was his logo, taking care of business.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's where that came from. But it didn't really, once again, didn't have a whole lot of meaning for what I was trying to do. And the Front Desk Lady kind of evolved. And it's one of those things that people either love it or they hate it. Because I've had several people that, have been like, oh, that's, I'm not a piece of furniture, but I'm not big on titles, it's who I am. When patients call, it's like, I need to speak to the front desk person. So just all. But the funny thing too, though, Dr. Samuels, there's a lot more men in our positions now too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I when I speak, I always do a little joke, the not the Declaration of whatever states that all men are created equal. So in that belief, all front desk ladies are created equal.
Yeah, very good.
That's my name.
Yeah. Let's see here. So can you talk a little bit about your, did you have a book that you have right now?
I do have a book.
Okay.
If you go to my webpage, which is frontdesklady.com, I have an ebook called Press 3 to File a Claim, which tells a little bit about what I do. And it also gives a little bit of history on me. And if anybody would like to download that book, they can actually email me at lisamarie@frontdesklady.com. And I will give them a code so that they can download the book for free.
Oh, good. You know what I'll do is I'll go ahead and post your
email address.
Well, what if I can just post your page, your Facebook page? Yeah, because it's going to be on a public server, I'd rather just go ahead and post your page, and they can contact you directly from your page, right?
That'd be perfect. Okay. Yes, just reference this blab, and I'll get you a code so you can download it for free.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for allowing our listeners to get a free copy of that. I appreciate that.
Oh, not a problem. I'm happy to share.
Yeah. And then was there another thing that you do as far as you were wanting to offer, we talked about earlier, like you were wanting to offer something like a free consultation?
Yes. If anybody's interested in either having me speak to their study group, or if they want more information on my coaching, communication coaching, I'm happy to do a 30-minute consultation, no charge, just kind of get to know you and see if we might be a good fit.
Okay. That's great. Yeah. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Let's see here. I think we talked about your company, talked about the services, talked about the book. Let's see. Is there anything else you wanted to, another topic that you want to talk about? We went through that pretty fast here.
We did. We're just that good. See, this is what happens when you're a front desk person, right?
Yeah.
Really the biggest thing I want to, just let everyone know is that it is supposed to be fun when you're dealing with the public. You really have to, engage and relate and just take joy in what you're doing. So if you're having problems with that, maybe you can get together as a team somehow. I mean, you don't always have to bring in a coach, right? There are always things that you can do. So I encourage team members to, find ways to communicate with one another, and then they can start communicating with their patients. Because a lot of times, and I'm sure you've probably seen this, is when the communication is broken with the team, it's not going to go with the patients. So work on ways to build those relationships. And remember, it's not a staff, it's a team.
Very nice.
A challenge.
I like that. You know what? I wanted to ask you a question earlier, and I didn't get to that, so I'll ask you now. Can you give us a specific example of how you're able to help out an office, a team? More having to do with probably somebody who is just an office that was just hugely dysfunctional and having problems altogether. Maybe the dentist was about to call it quits, or fire everybody and everyone to start all over. So they might have made you that phone call.
I actually had a doctor when I first started, and he was opening his second practice, and he was a great dentist, but he was very much so a micromanager. And he was one of these people that would come in, and every day the system that he started last week was out, and now he's going to do a new one. And he did weird things, like change people's roles. Like one day the front office was collecting the money, and then the next week the assistants were collecting the money, and the assistants didn't want anything to do with money. So there was a lot of miscommunication, if you will. So when I spoke to the doctor, my challenge to him was, I really need for us to get a system in place that you're willing to give at least 3 months to before you try to switch it again. And I need you to step back. You hired this team. Trust them to be able to do the job. I know that training must be done, but when you have team members that have been there for years, at some point you have to trust them to do it. So that was a challenge to him and to me, being one of my first practices to go into, was to really be able to get him to trust the team, to create a system that the team helped create, and then trust the team to implement it, to get it going. We actually, we were able to get some things on track. You know, of course, it's not easy to change habit. We all know that. So there's a few things that kind of, you know, slide back on. But I think as a whole, the ability for him to place that trust in his team really helped the team feel better about being a part of the practice also.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, that I'm sure there's a lot more to that story than what you explained. So
I have to give the nice version, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, the whole point of me doing this podcast series, and I'm specifically hiring, you know, experts in the dental field, people who have a lot of experience and who've been through it all, is so that they can kind of get a glimpse of who you are, and then, you know, from there, you know, get to know you a little bit, and then from there being able to call you up, you know, because I'm sure there's somebody who can listen to this and relate, well, that sounds a lot like me, and that's, you know, that's, I know you could help me out with that.
Right. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to share, you know, what I do. I'm excited about what I get to do. Like you said, every morning I get up and, you know, it's yes, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to make a change today. I'm going to impact someone's life, or even just the day. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Yep. So what I'll do is, we can, if you want, we can go ahead and end the podcast, unless there's something more you wanted to share with the audience.
Mm-hmm. I don't really have anything else. I hope everyone has a, you know, happy and safe July 4th holiday. But
yeah. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and make sure on the front office success page on Facebook, we're going to make sure that you have your contact information on there, and then I'll just go ahead and place a link to your Facebook page on there.
Okay, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, and also your website too.
Okay, all righty.
Just for the audience, real quick,
that we can, you know, get the most exposure and you know, help everybody improve to the best of their ability.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today, and this was podcast number 9 with Lisa Marie Spradley. Mm-hmm. And join us next time for podcast number. Actually, this is podcast number 10. Yeah, podcast number 11 will be next week with Dino Watt, and I'm looking forward to that one too. So, thank you everyone, and go ahead and stay on the line here, Lisa. I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay.